My name is Steve Marlow. I've been a Christian for over 20 years, and this is my story. When I was growing up, my parents rarely went to church. I do remember going with my mom and stepdad one time, though, and we went to an Easter service, and the pastor called all the little kids up to the front, and he spoke to us, and I was probably about 6 or 7 years old. And I remember him talking, and I don't remember what he was saying, until he asked us to pray with him. He said, whoever wants to invite Jesus into their heart, to kneel there on the steps and pray with him. Well, I couldn't even get past what he had said about Jesus coming into our hearts. I was 7 years old. I was just a little kid, and I'd seen pictures of Jesus in the books, and he was a grown man. How is he going to fit into my heart? And I remember sitting there, kneeling there on those steps with those other little kids, and I was looking up at the pastor, trying to figure out what he was talking about. So that evening I went home and I asked my mom, and she seemed very uncomfortable talking about it, but she did seem to remember some things she had learned when she was young, and she was able to talk to me about the plan of salvation and explain a little bit better to me as a 7-year-old child what it meant to have Jesus come into my heart. It wasn't until I was a teenager and rebellious. I had long, if you can believe it, had long hippie style hair and used to wear hippie clothes. I was a hippie wannabe in the 80s, and did a lot of drugs, did a lot of drinking, running around and partying. God was able to take me out of that, and it was through the mother of a girlfriend that I had. She was practicing for a church program where she would evangelism explosion, where she would go around and preach the message to people. And she asked me if she could practice her spiel on me while I was waiting for my girlfriend to do the dishes so we could go out. And I said yes, that would be fine. Well, about halfway through her talk, it became very real, and I basically accepted the Lord into my heart then, not thinking about that I had already done it when I was younger. And I think God honored that younger prayer to bring me into something for my future and given a new international version of the Bible. I began to read, and from that point on, I read every day, or nearly every day. And I started to make changes in my life. Over a short period of time, I stopped listening to secular music, and I started going to a local church. I stopped watching a lot of the trash that we find on television. And from there, I was led by the Lord through a bunch of circumstances that we don't have time to talk about today, to move to Jonesboro, Arkansas. Now, most of this took place in Raleigh, North Carolina. And I moved to Jonesboro. From there, I became a minister at the Lord's Ranch, and was able to try to help kids who had grown up in bad situations much like mine. And God has richly blessed me, and I don't know what I would have done if he hadn't saw that dirty, drug-infested person and took me and cleaned me up and washed me and made me whiter than snow. God is so good. My family's been attending Mount Vernon for about 8 years. Myself, I've only been coming for a little over a year because I was a music minister at a different church previously. But things changed, and God allowed me to be able to come here and worship with my family, and I feel so blessed to be here. I love the people here. It's just a great atmosphere, and I can tell that God is really doing the work.